All right, welcome to Intuition to Income. This is Abby Gooch, and I am so excited to be here. My friend Miko. So I got to tell you, I have a story about Miko. So one of my very first clients, his name was Miko, and I adored her. And I remember like telling her one piece of information because she was just starting her acupuncture practice. And I said, hey, imagine that you are one drop in the ocean, and the ocean is this huge, expansive universe, and it's forever connected. We are a part of the greater whole. It is constantly moving in and through us. So when I got this Miko's email, I don't know, I think it was like 2 months ago, inviting me to be on her show, I was like, okay, I already love her because I love anybody named Miko and pretty much love the whole world, but really love Miko's. And then I got to meet this beautiful soul, and I just found her to be one of the clearest, brightest lights. And I haven't really had a chance to go super deep into her personal life, but who she is and how she shows up in the world with such purity and light and love was enough for me to invite her on this show. And with her permission, because she's here, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into her personal story and kind of learn how she got here. And really the work she's doing in the world, I know in every cell of my being is intuitively based. Even though she's just like learning and developing more, she's teaching people already. And I think she's amazing and she's doing it and I love her. So Miko, welcome to Intuition Income.
Oh my goodness, Abby, that was such an amazing introduction. I want to say thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor, first of all, to have you as a guest on my series, 26 Days to Greatness Challenge. And like I said, when I first connected with you, like I love your energy too. And it's so funny to find out that the first client you had was also named Miko, because that's not a common name. So, and it's so funny that, Abby, I have a gut feeling that this interview, this conversation with you, I'm going to learn something new about myself too. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And like, intuition to me is like a remembering of who we are. So like we say we're learning, but it's almost like we're remembering why we came here. And for me, I think that's why I teach intuition, is it's like, if we could just remember that soul, that love, it's that presence within us, it's going to guide us. So I'm curious, Miko, how and when did you start feeling that presence guiding and awakening within you?
That's such a good question. I feel like it's always been there, but I was not aware of it until very recently. But I would say like the first time, it was actually like, I think I was in middle school, elementary school, that I went to a half price bookstore. I don't know if you know it where you live, but it's called Half Price Bookstore. Everything is half price. So like I remember picking out books on how to like cultivate our psychic abilities. Like back then it was like totally not a thing, and I didn't like share that with anyone, but I was just so like interested in the realm beyond like the physical dimension, and that was like in middle school. But then I would say like it was about 3 years ago when I dive into entrepreneurship, spiritual awakening, understanding the power that I have within me. And that's really started off this beautiful journey of like connecting to my spirit, really getting to know who Miko is beyond like my physical identity, like my diplomas, my grades and all of that stuff. I would say like about 3 years ago.
Yeah. I love that you keep using the word spirit, which I don't think anybody on the show yet has been using. And it's so true, right? Like, it's like the spirit beyond like body and form and even mind. And yeah, I mean, it's just funny. I'm looking at some of my credentials and it's like, I used to be like, credentials don't matter. They do, but they don't, right? It's like who you are that really makes an impact, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, one of the biggest thing that I came to realize, like the moment that I graduated from UC Berkeley, is like I did everything that society told me I should do, and then now what? Like that huge question of now what was like, it was just weighing so heavy on me. And like I've got jobs that were like related to my degree, which was psychology, but like there was just this deep knowing that something within me wants to burst. Like it's just like this greater knowing that I'm meant to do something so much bigger. And like every time I show up to work, even though the pay was pretty good, as a fresh college graduate, but like something was just so heavy weighing on me. And I just had to like take the leap of faith, like over and over again, just kind of continue to lifting all of those things, like everything that's not me, like lifting that off, peeling back the layers to get to know who I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love just lifting into who you really are. Just those words is so beautiful, right? Like lifting,
Yeah.
being lifted. And I think it's about trusting those inner nudges. Like I kept hearing you say, you know, there's something bigger within me. And I feel like we all have that. And as we start to listen to that, like that nudge, that life force calling of like, yeah, I feel something stirring within me. It's wanting to emerge. It's wanting to birth with more love, right? Like to follow what you love and, you know, let go of the heaviness, right? Acknowledge it. What does it need? And then rise to this new level.
Yeah. It's like I've made so many decisions like in the past 3 years that just made absolutely no logical sense. And every single time it was like, I don't know what's on the other side, but like something is just like calling me. And it's just like, it's hard to explain. Like I'm not, someone that's super, I don't have my expertise in like my intuition. I just know that that's something that guides me. But every single time I make that leap, like what's on the other side has been tremendously rewarding, and it just feels amazing.
I love that. So I would love for you to share like one or two examples of exactly that, where your intuition is like, hey, go do this. And your mind is like, what? And you do it.
Yeah, so like the first one would be like so the job that I had coming out of college was like the pay was pretty good. I worked in like in a city as a preschool teacher with like the community programs, and then like I thought that was something that's in alignment to what I love, because I love working with kids, and I love, like, I've been a teacher for like a long time, and the pay was good. But then like, and I was also living on my own outside, like after graduating from college. Like I always had this idea that I'm never gonna move back home after college. Like that was just not a thing. And you know how society has like these like ideas that when you're living on your own and you're successful, like you're not moving back home with your parents. So all of those ideas were just in the back of my mind. But I decided one day that I no longer want to go to that job. Like every day it just weighs heavy on my heart. And it's not that I don't love kids, Abby. Like I absolutely adore those little ones. But like I felt like I was just not living to my calling, because every time as a teacher in this systematic school system, I feel like I was doing opposite to what my soul wants to do, which is like help people unleash their greatness and all of that stuff. But so essentially I decided to quit my job, and like I didn't even want to do it 2 weeks, but I want to be responsible. So I turned in my 2 weeks notice and just decided to move home, like completely left everything and moved home, and said I'm diving all in with following my calling. So that was the first one. And then the second one was pretty recent, in March this year. So about like 3 months ago. Again, I was still having a part-time job to keep the income coming as I'm building a business. And it was like my pretty much like my main source of income at that time, right? Like my business is still off, like haven't kicked off yet. And like one day I just felt like, you know what, this is, if by me deciding to stay at this job, I was declaring to the universe that my value is way down here, where each hour of my time was only worth like a certain dollar amount. So I decided that I need to declare to the universe, like, no, my value is worth so much more. So like I decided to quit again, even though I don't know where money was going to come from. It didn't make any sense. So that was another leap that I took recently. Yeah.
So I would love, and you can tell me later, the result that happened, because I know for me, so I did something similar, except I did it with college. So I got a scholarship to go to school, to college, and I got there and I was like, this is like a round peg in a square hole. Like this does not feel right. So I left, I followed my intuition, left that, and started a business at 19 that I still have. So my intuition was a way better choice to follow that than the traditional path. So I'd love to hear the result of you choosing to follow your intuition. So you left that. What have you done since then? And what has happened as you followed your intuition? You had the courage to do it. Now, what was the result that you got from it?
Well, first of all, when I first left the preschool teacher, like it just felt like a whole weight lifted off of my shoulders, off of my chest, and I could breathe again. Like it just feels good emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And a lot of opportunities just started to show up. Like on my entrepreneurship journey, I saw new ways of like creating financial freedom, not just work at a job. I have so many amazing mentors to come into my life. Like my circle was just expanding with people who had like a different level of vision, different way of looking at life. Like that just completely sent me off on like they were like catalysts to my massive transformation that happened spiritually and professionally. And then I just really, every step along the way, like it's hard to predict. And there were so many different doors that opened like along the way, but that just got me closer and closer to realizing who I am. So like that self-realization journey. And then the leaving the job 3 months ago, that just, first of all, I had my first $1,000 in a week, 1K week a couple of weeks ago inside my business. And that really happened like I would say, yeah. So like really being able to declare to the universe that my worth and my value is so much more than like staying at that smallness of the job. Like I started to be able to really unleash myself and impact people in a much bigger scale, and then letting the abundance to come in. And just every day, like I'm just getting closer and closer to doing what I truly love. And that alone, it's like, it's worth everything. It's that inner freedom. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so how you feel, and also based on how you feel, it sounds like you manifested what you want, or maybe beyond, right? $1,000 a week month. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
$1,000 a week. That's awesome. Good for you. That's awesome. Beautiful. So, all right, there was another piece on that. So, also what I remember is you started your business, right? So you left one job to create something more, and the freedom of owning your own company and making the impact with the message. So I think that's a really beautiful thing to acknowledge and kind of underscore, like, wow, like now I get to rise into this higher vibration of my soul's expression through business. So how fun is that?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like I always tell people this, like entrepreneurship is literally like the best personal development tool that you can have, because it's about you getting to know who you are and bringing your gifts out in a way that solve a specific problem in the society and get paid for it. And you get to decide how much to charge for that. So like it's a win-win-win.
Totally. And I love what you saw about seeing your value. And one of the things that I teach in my course is our value, and I really want everybody to hear this, our value is infinite. Like there is no amount that you could ever put on your value. It's infinite, right? And then in business, the value that you provide to someone for a specific service is the exchange of energy. And when you know your infinite value as a person, and then you offer something so valuable to your people, the people you're meant to serve, they want to pay you. And it's so fun because they ask, right? People just ask me, well, how do I pay you now? How much is it? Okay, can I pay you, right? Like I was talking to one of my clients and she's like, well, what do I say now? And I was like, your people will ask you. They will ask, can I pay you? They just will, because like it feels right. So I love that you're living the truth of your value in business, right? And I just really invite everybody to embody and embrace your infinite value right now. And if business is something you're wanting to create, you can talk to me or Miko, right? Miko and I, my partner would be like, you didn't say that right. I'm like, oh, well, I said it. But the whole point is like it's available to you, right? You can email us. You can find so many resources. Trust your value. I love that you brought up that, Miko. That's beautiful. Is there anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, I would say like that's a huge component when it comes to me like starting to receive the abundance. Like it was a lot of inner work of like healing any childhood trauma where I was feeling like I just identify a lot of patterns in me where I was playing this story that I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, I'm second best. Like it really, like I was seeing how much that story was reflecting in all sorts of aspects of my life, like my relationship, my finances, like my happiness, my physical condition. It was showing up in everywhere. And when I can really transcend those patterns, that's when like I open the doors to more abundance to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was just talking to somebody this morning, and the process I teach, we talked a little bit about is intuitive success coaching. So it's about changing the patterns. And what I told him is exactly what you said, is until you change the patterns to match your intuition, something similar to the point that basically what I told him is when you change that pattern to match your intuition, that's when you can manifest what it is that you want, because the beliefs need to match the truth of your intuition. And if they don't, there's a disconnect. So you all, as you're listening to this, can think, where am I blocked? When I think about moving into value or my business, where am I stopping myself? And so you did the work, Miko, and then you were able to shift your beliefs to then match the truth of that knowing, and now create this business. So is there anything else you want to add about that? Because I think it's a key point to understand that we can actually do the inner work to change the results in our lives. Like, I would love for you to share how you even do that for people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I came to this realization because I started entrepreneurship in network marketing and also trying to learn the foreign exchange market. And because like that was literally two gold mines that I saw were gonna get me like time freedom and financial freedom and the ultimate freedom lifestyle that I wanted. And I would say like I've been pushing and grinding in that space for over, I think, almost 2 years, but I didn't see any results. Like I was getting so frustrated. Like I didn't really like, I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. But then like everyone kept telling me, and everyone, like there were people around me in the space who were making so much money. And I started to realize like, it's the same vehicle. What if it's working for someone else, but it's not working for me, then it has to do with me because I am the only determining factor in that equation. So I started to really like dive deeper and to understand like what's really going on, and then like on the entire journey I just started to like see, learn from different mentors and like read different books to really understand that like if I don't change the core of who I am, like I'm the source of everything, and if I go out and try to learn different ventures, like get into different vehicles, that's just like putting pretty wallpaper over like the junk inside. So so what I started to doing would just be like awareness. Like awareness was like a number one thing that like I'm someone who is super aware of what goes on in my mind and my emotions, like how I'm feeling physically, like where the tensions are showing up every day, and just doing the inner work. And like really when something shows up, I sit with it. I really like ask myself the questions like, what part of Miko is getting triggered right now? Why am I feeling triggered? Like what, like really detaching from the emotions and detaching from like the thoughts and knowing that that's not me. Doing a lot of that work just really opened up like a lot of aha moments for me. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I was just listening to somebody else's YouTube show yesterday, and they were talking about fifth dimension awareness. So living from the heart and actually being the witness and looking at what's happening, like exactly what you're saying, like observing, like they said, like getting above it, right? And I was like, it's exactly what you're doing. So you're looking above it, what's happening, and then with your awareness, you're able to change it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like there's a saying, I don't remember, I think Albert Einstein, whoever said that the same level of thinking that created the problems are not the same level of thinking that would get us out of that. So like we really need to get to a place where we are beyond our old patterns and our old like trauma, and really be able to transcend that and be and so like, and there's another saying that I learned from Kyle Cease, who said that instead of trying to fix our circumstances and our conditions and our problems, like we work on ourselves and raise our consciousness to a level where none of those problems can even exist. And that's really the work that I've been doing. Like I realized that the same Miko that created the lack of money, the debt, the unfulfillment, the lack of results, like that Miko, it's not going to create the abundance, the happiness, the powerful impact that I want to create. So I really need to just shift out of that and become a different person.
You know, it's just coming so clear. And I don't know if this is my quote or somebody else's, but I love it. So the power within you is greater than any power outside of you.
That's good. Yeah.
So when you know and you remember that, literally that energy, that life force energy, like an explosion of love inside of you, will be powerful enough to release, like you said, anything that has happened as a condition. You can get above it, change it, transform it, and become who you're meant to be, right? Which then
Mm-hmm.
expands, your light expands. So I love that we're all doing that just by being on the show. All of us listening in this together and talking about it is waking up the part of us that already knows. And a long time ago, I did a video on that, just talking to the part of you, accessing the part of you that knows. That's your intuition, period, point blank. Listen to that part. It has the solution. And like my partner says, like, I love that you always like know there's a solution. And I'm like, yeah, there is. There's always a solution, always.
Yeah, I love that.
I really do.
Yeah, I do believe in that too, and I know it. It's just like like you said, we have those solutions deep within, but it's just like we have so many layers of like pain, limiting beliefs that are just blocking that direct connection to the all the answers and all the abundance that we want. But we all have that direct access, so it's all about just like peeling back the layers that's not us, and letting that light to shine through, letting that intuition to get channeled through us.
I love that you always have the answers. Nothing's hidden. You already know. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say about that? I love that, because I think sometimes we all are wondering, like, can we trust ourselves? Can we trust ourselves to do this? Like, I mean, I started with 20 bucks in my pocket before I did my business, but I trusted and I believed. So like, again, that part of you that knows, and like, how do you like move through that and transcend the fear, right, that can come up?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that really made a huge difference for me, like I would say even just a couple weeks ago, like and anyone like getting into this like personal development journey, like we all started with things like the law of attraction, think positively. And I think like, and that's what the train that I was on for a really long time. Like I would be super aware of like the thoughts that would show up. And then when I'm thinking something negative or feeling something negative, I would immediately try to like stop it and like say, no, that's not good. But like only until recently that I really came to this knowing of like surrendering and accepting both the light and the dark. And that's the only way I'm going to release anything that's repressed deep within me. So like, I wish I would have known this earlier on, is that like when those negative feelings or thoughts show up, instead of like judging and saying that that's bad, why don't I just fully be present with them and let them like hold space for whatever wants to come up. Like I look at it as like the little Miko that just wants to be seen, that just wants to be heard. Like there is something hurting right now, and that's why it created that voice, that fearful voice and all those like negative emotions. Like there was a reason why that's showing up. So right now I just hold space for it. I'm being that loving mother to my little like 3-year-old Miko, and let it cry, let it rant, let it do whatever it wants to. Don't judge it and just let it release. And it's been amazing.
Yeah. I love that you said that. And that's been a practice for me too. And it's been so easy for me to hold so much space for so many people. And then it came to my own stuff and I'm like, wait, hold unconditional love and non-judgment for me, right? I find it personally to be harder to do it for myself than other people. But I feel like it's the same concept, exactly what you said. Hold the space, unconditional love and non-judgment, and let those parts heal. And I was judging, oh, the dark is bad. And maybe something bad did happen in the darkness, or it's a negative feeling. But if we don't ever let it, you said, like, rise up from the repression, like, because I was definitely like repressing, right? Then you let it rise up, it can heal. It's almost like a bubble pops, or it can like open up, otherwise it is probably just stuck, right? Like,
yeah.
Anything else you want to share on that?
Yeah, Abby. So like, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that was like one of my biggest aha like transformations that just happened last week. Is like, I realized how much I'm able to cultivate and nurture other people and hold space for the healing, but I was totally never there for myself in that way. Like I would be super judgmental. And like if any of the listeners are listening are like super ambitious, super driven, like that's you, right? Like we always want to do things perfect. And then we have this voice in the back of our mind that always tell ourselves like, you should be doing this, you should be doing it better. Like that voice is so judgmental. And I was doing that to myself for a really long time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put me first. I'm going to pour all the love that I am doing for other people to myself first, and really cultivate that deep, unconditionally loving relationship with me. And that was a game changer for me, like just a week ago as it started.
Yeah, I bet. And
Mhm.
you know what? I want to just, what came when you said that is to ask, whose voice is that? So if there's a voice of judgment, of you're wrong, or any of that, where did that come from? Because most likely it came from somebody. I know for me, somebody told me, you know, you're wrong, right? So it's not really even my voice. And if you think about like a baby, like in its perfection, we all were babies, right? We all were once babies. It's just like pure being of light, which we all still are, right? But how could that possibly be wrong? So I just feel that unconditional love can be likened to like a child, right? Pure light and love. And any other voice or any other thing that's come into your consciousness, what I always tell myself and others is it was really coming from a place of disconnection from love. Nobody would tell you you're wrong or you're bad or you're stupid or anything from love, right? So if you go to your heart and even now drop into your core and feel the truth within you, you can find the answer. It's not the voice that somebody else once told you, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading The Untethered Soul by Michael today, and he just brought up a really good point. It's like, as long as we can hear that voice in the back of our mind, then we know that we are not that voice, because there's like the observer and there's the thing that's being observed. So like that voice is not us, obviously. And to answer your question of like, where did that came from? I would say like, it's this personality that we have kind of developed growing up, like either to avoid pain or to receive love. Like we all have experiences growing up where we were made to feel unloved or just uncared for. And it's not like people intentionally did that to us, but like we all have that. Maybe our parent had a bad day, and then I remember one incident, Abby, like it's still stuck in my memory. It's like I remember I was really young, and then first time ever, I got a little cactus plant, you know, those super cute
Yeah.
cactus, and I was so fascinated by it. So I just kept poking it, playing with it, and then my mom got mad at me. She was so mad because she was concerned. Like she didn't want me to poke my finger, but like she was just so mad, and she slammed the cactus plant off the table. Like imagine the kind of trauma that I felt as a little kid. I had no idea why, like why she was so mad. So like that left some trauma in me. Maybe from that point on, I developed a story like I'm not supposed to be curious. I'm not supposed to play with, like I'm not supposed to be fascinated, because that would cause me pain. So like I would say like that voice comes up because like there are all these energy blocks like that are crystallized in our bodies because we haven't taken the time to heal them. So now that voice is just always talking because it wants to be loved, it wants to be seen, and that's it. You just got to listen to it.
Mm-hmm. It's funny,
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was like, it's just the pure innocence of us all and the child within us. You were like,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't even know what was going on. She's knocking it away, and you're like, what? Like, because you knew you didn't do anything wrong. You're playing with a cactus. And so that's kind of like the insanity of like abuse and things that happen in the world, right? Like, you're just being yourself, playing with the plant, and somebody's misinterpreting you're doing something wrong or whatever it is, and now the plant's gone, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like just seeing that, and yeah, being aware, and then being able to change it and heal that part. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah,
Really
it's funny
beautiful.
now looking back.
Yeah, right? But then to love those parts of us, like those traumatized parts, those hurt parts, those repressed parts. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah.
thanks for being transparent. Let's see,
Mhm.
where do we go from here, Miko? Talk to me, girl. What else?
Yeah, so I mean, like as we're recording this, Abby, like there's just so much anger and frustration and pain that's going on right now, like in our country specifically. And I would just say like that's a result of all the accumulated like pain and the voices that we are not hearing, like ourselves, like our own voices that's been repressed, and now it's just kind of like reflected like globally in like everything that's happening right now. And like I'm a firm believer in like working on ourselves first instead of trying to change the conditions outside. So like if anyone listening, I'm sure like your listeners, if they're listening to this, they're really like, you know, like they take responsibility for their own part first. And really the first thing that we can all do is to be more loving and unconditional and compassionate with you first. Like you got to do that for you, and then that's gonna like bleed into the people closest to you, and then just gonna simmer out to like society as a whole. But you got to start with the core. Like don't try to go out there and fix everyone else and not focus on you. Mm-hmm.
Such great advice. I love that. Yeah, totally living that unconditional love of like, wow, how can I love this and be the change? Be the change. Like that's the mission, right? Like of One Heart, be the change. And I feel like I want to keep this focused on you. How do you help people do that for themselves? Because I know you're an amazing coach. Is there like a process or a way that you can guide and then invite people into so they can have that experience of actually changing themselves? And you know, I don't even like the word change. It's like transforming, right? Transforming what hurts into it becoming more of who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't believe in like changing or fixing. Like, there's nothing to be fixed about you, first of all. And I feel like I have this gift of being able to see people for where they can be, and like really, truly, fully accepting them, no matter where they're at right now. It could be like they're in the worst shape ever, financially, emotionally, but like I just have this gift of seeing them for who they really are, beyond the condition. So what I can do for people is just like, first of all, I can hold that space for them, even when at the beginning they may not be able to do that. So like really just accepting them for where they're at right now. And maybe for the first time ever, like no one has taken that stand for who they are, and giving them that permission to like to cry, to release the anger, whatever they need to do to let that repressed emotions to come out. I can hold space for people like that. And then couple processes are just like doing like some visualization work and like reconnecting back to a moment in time when, like, as a little kid, they may have felt unloved or felt judged or felt like abandoned, and then just really going back in that time to be the loving parent to that little you, that wasn't seen or heard, and kind of letting some of that energy and the tension to be released like once and for all. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have a way so that people can do that? So just, I kind of did it with you, like going back to a memory and thinking about it, just even started to release it. Is there a way that you can guide us through like a transformation of that? So the release starts to happen, but then like the next level of bringing love and then shifting it to a higher vibration. I'm just like, I feel like you got us there, transform and then almost like put it into action, right? Like a way where people can have like a practical result of I did this and now this is what happened.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So I totally believe this is not like a one-time process. And one of the tip that I can give you, like a tangible, practical step, is like, it's a very moment-to-moment thing that I even still do up to this day. First of all is like, being in the present moment is so important. So like, first, if next time you catch like a judgmental voice that comes up saying like, you're so ugly, or you're not pretty, or like you should say this, like whatever that judgment is, that thought that just pops up, or you feel this tension immediately, I want you to just like take 3 deep breaths, right? Really take three deep breaths, and don't try to fix it, don't try to justify it, don't try to like give any just don't fix it or justify it. You don't need to give a reason for why you're feeling that. So that's step number 1, fully being there with that emotion, and then taking 3 deep breaths and just fully feel it. Like, notice where in your body it's happening. And then this is one thing that I really picked up from Kyle Cease, who said that like, I'm feeling anger, and then he said, and I love that. Like say, and I love that, following any emotions that you're feeling. Like truly feel, like truly believe that. Don't just say I love it. Like I feel angry and I love that. Like that's surrendering into the process. So that's what I do. And it's like a really moment to moment thing because it's going to show up again and again.
I love that. I love that. That's great. I'm doing it.
There you go.
That's so fun. And can people chat with you more? Because I agree, it's a process, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it's a process. So how can they work with you more? You know, if they choose and they feel called to do that work.
Yeah, that's really a good question. So they can find me anywhere on like Facebook. Facebook, I'm Miko Lau, Miko. Last name is Lau. And I'm on Instagram at life, life of Miko. And you can send me an email as well. I'm super responsive on email, lifeofmikolau@gmail.com. And I would love to connect. I have so much time now, so I want to talk to you guys.
Right? Oh my goodness. So I love it. Let's see, what is coming is like so funny. I'm so experienced. I have like a 3-step process that you could help people put their intuition into more action. So like if you had something you could share with them that would be like, hey, you know, do this and you will, right? Like I'm all about like real world practical application. Is there a way that you could just kind of support people in following their intuition to get those practical results?
So following intuition for practical results. Yes. So one thing that really supports me with hearing my intuition better is giving the space for that to show up. And what I started to do is just, so in the past, I would literally pack out all my schedule, like one appointment after the other. So right now what I'm starting to do is I give myself the chunk of time. If there's like a 30 minutes between appointments, I would not try to squeeze more things in there. I would just completely sit back and be in silence. And I have a journal. So step number 1 is creating the environment for the intuition to come through. And that means like don't squeeze it, everything, pack your schedule out, and silence is so important. So I try my best to shut off like the phone, close my door if I'm at home with my family, and then I open a journal. And at the top of the journal, I write, how do I really feel and what do I really want to say? So I'm just giving a space for whatever wants to come through. Like I'm holding space physically on a journal and just write out everything. And again, when I say I feel this way, I don't justify it. I don't try to change it. Even though I do feel that urge immediately, like I would be like, I feel disappointed, but like that voice would try to immediately justify it. But so like, I really try not to do that and just write out everything that I'm feeling, everything that I really want to say. And it doesn't have to be rational. So that's what I do.
So give yourself the space you need. I also feel like the physical environment, right? So whether it's a quiet room or house, and then the emotional space, kind of like you were talking about earlier, to let it breathe, let it release, and then to journal.
Yes. Yeah, and by doing that, it's basically like you're emptying like the plate, kind of peeling back the layers of untruth. And that's when like you become a direct channel to like the wisdom and the intuition to come through. Yeah.
That's awesome. You kind of release so the core can emerge. That's beautiful. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So how have you seen, as you followed your intuition, how it's naturally helped more people? It's created a greater ripple effect of service.
Oh, I love this question. So first of all, like when in the past, when I have so many like triggers and like trying to protect myself from all these like pain, I was really coming from a place of like taking, even though I was saying like, I'm building a business to help people, I'm putting out content, I'm doing all of this stuff, but like energetically, I was really coming from a taking energy. Like I want the approval, I want the validation, I want the likes, I want the engagement, I want the money, right? So it was a very like taking energy. But because I did the inner work, I really like clear that channel for the intuition to come through. Like now I'm really like in the position and the power to serve, like really, like it's no longer making it all about me, like how do I look, how do I sound, like it's not about that anymore. And just being able to like let the higher wisdom to come through that maybe my ego, my physical mortal mind does not really cannot grasp, but like letting those intuition to come through me as a channel, that people, like I can say the things that people need to hear in a more intuitive way. So that's been helping people, and just being like inspiring others to do the inner work too, and they inspire others, so like it's that ripple effect that starts to happen.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. Anything else about that?
Yeah, I would just really like emphasize the power and the impact that when you do your inner work, like the impact that's gonna really create, it's so much bigger than what you think it is. Like, you know, and I love this saying that you need to be selfish to be selfless. Like you gotta be selfish first to like take care of your own needs. Like what do you need? Honor your desires and really fill your cup first. So that way you can be selfless with everyone, like because now I'm really like doing the healing and I'm connected to more to like my intuition. I feel like I have unlimited like resources, time, energy, and money, even though physically it might not seem like it financially. I just feel like I have so much to give, and I feel like I can be selfless because I'm connected to that source of infinite abundance. So yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing I would add on that is like the purity of intention to serve. So I know for me, when I started my companies, it was like genuinely, how can I serve? Like I had so much, like you said, an overflow. So maybe not selfish, may not be like, you could use that word, or an overflow, like you feel so full of love that you actually want to share it with more people. And so that place, like I remember I was on Soul Mirrors and I was talking about when I got out of college, I would like give naked juices because I had so many. I had it to give. So you fill yourself up and then you give. And when you have that place, that heart of service, your intuition will naturally guide you to do what serves you and everybody else, right? Like it's just our built-in inner compass. And so as we follow that, we naturally serve. So I love what you said about that. It's just so beautiful.
It's just like, you know, it's like you gotta make sure to put you first and work on like expanding your consciousness and healing whatever needs to be healed before you can even be of service to anyone. Like I truly believe in that.
Yeah, and then as you do your giving, you naturally receive. You don't have to worry about anything. It's like, you know, the full circle. I remember somebody told me years ago when I first started the school, she actually said giving is the same as receiving because it's the same circle. So when you give, you actually naturally receive. When you receive, you naturally give. And so it just keeps going. It's like this infinite circle. And so when your focus is on giving because you're full, because you can give, you start receiving, right? So I know the biggest, you know, jumps in income is when I'm thinking, oh, how can I serve? What can I do? And it just starts coming, right? Because you're not really thinking about it. Like you're like, oh, I know I'll probably need this money for this. But you're really just focused on how can I serve, right? That project, that person. And so, yeah, I love that you just received, you know, $1,000, right? And like, we can constantly ask, okay, universe, this is what I'd like. And like, may I be used in the highest service, right? And then we're interconnected, like that ocean analogy I started with. And it's just a really beautiful, like, process and dance, you know? And I think the internet, interconnectedness, I said internet, the internet is connecting us all now. And the internet, you know, like it really is, the internet gives us this opportunity to actually like share, right? No matter where we are. So it's like, what can we do with the resources we have, wherever you are? Maybe you're just in a room right now sitting and being like, oh, well, I don't have this. What do you have? You have this computer to listen to this. You have some tools that you can actually use now. And maybe there's more tools. Maybe we still have some time to help people, like wherever they're at. What resources can they use right now, right? Like, that's the process. The intuitive success thing is like, what is it that you have now? Your emotions, your positive emotions, your intuition, and your dreams. Let those dreams inspire you. Everything I've ever thought, like it's pretty much happened. It's crazy, right? And it may not happen in the way you think, but it has, you know, from seeing kids being in orphanages. So this is about you, Miko. So I just want to give some people some tidbits of like, hey, how can you use what you have? So Miko, go ahead, but just kind of on that, segue.
Oh yeah, that's a really good question. I was just thinking about this earlier today. Like I feel like God, I mean, whatever you believe in, it could be anything divine, right? God has placed something so special in us. And like if every single day we're not fully expressing that, then we're really just wasting life away. And anyone, if you're thinking like you're sitting back and I used to struggle with this big time when I got into entrepreneurship. I know it's all about like giving a value, like solving a problem, but like I never understood like what's my value, like what can I give to solve a problem. I just never know. But like a good starting point is just like really think about, as long as like any experience that you have had in your life, like any challenge that you have overcame, that's golden nugget. That's your value in supporting another person and overcoming that. And we all have been through challenges in our own unique way. And like really just keep your intention and keep your heart and your mind like on the other person. There has to be another person on this planet who's going through the same thing that you have overcame in the past. Really like focus on that person and think about like, if I only had like a magic wand or like a mentor who can help me when I was struggling, what do I need? And then just share content in that way and support that person, support like the you 5 years ago when you were going through the challenge. So like that's a good way to get started with how you can serve.
Absolutely. That's great. And then I think just to kind of go back on your inner resources. So some of those are your positive emotions. So what makes you feel good? What are the things that make you happy? Go do them. For me, it's going for a run, right? Like getting on the vibrations, the positive emotions are those inner resources that you can take into a negative situation, into a negative emotion. Like as simple as, okay, think about something you love, hold your hand on your heart for 3 seconds. Like I literally could say, I love Miko. I feel that in my heart. I feel the presence of love. I'm going to anchor it for 3 seconds. And then I can think about something else that's really upsetting me. So release your hand for a second. If you're doing this, think about something that's really upsetting you. Just freeze it for a second. Come outside of it. Put your hand back on your heart. Feel the love emotion. And now take that energy of love into that situation. And I promise you that situation will start to transform. Your perception of it will now be of love. You'll probably be way less judgmental. And you'll know what to do next to build yourself up. So whatever your moment is, maybe you're judging yourself right now. Okay, as you feel this presence of love, bring love into this moment right now. And notice how your perception of yourself changes. And you're like, whoa, I am amazing. I can't believe I went through that. And I'm here right now watching this video. I'm here right now with Miko, right? So we all have everything we need to succeed. It's a matter of listening, trusting, and following our intuitive guidance, because that is our soul's path. And when we do, we light this world up with our love.
Oh my gosh, Abby, I love that. That was just, I know I can use that like so many moments throughout the day. And like there are still so many like triggers that we all have that we're releasing. And just by anchoring that feeling of love in our heart center and shifting that energy and whatever that thing or the circumstance or the person that's upsetting us, that's beautiful. So I'm going to use that.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's a gift. So find your anchor point of love. Find your anchor point of love. And we just gave it to you. To your heart. So let it guide you. Yeah. Yeah. And from that positive place, take action. So when your intuition, kind of like Miko was talking about, a little nudge to do this, or me to leave college and start a business, okay, follow it. Take that action step that feels really good. When you take the action, you can bring the result you want, right? If you don't take the action, that can never happen. If I didn't like bring this desk into this room, or I don't know, whoever moved it in here, I wouldn't have a desk, right? So it's like, to take the action is to get the result you want. To get the result is to live the life you want. So trust yourself, trust your intuition, let it guide you, let those positive resources support you to really be who you are, because the world needs.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And Abby, I want to just point out one thing that you just mentioned that's really important is like feeling good. Like that was one thing that I feel like growing up my whole life is like feeling good doesn't get you money. Like you're not supposed to like get the yeah, I know, right? It was the biggest lie that they've been conditioned us to believe. And like they say like you can follow your passion and make money, but that's like the biggest lie. Like when we are feeling good, that's when the $1 million ideas get channeled through us. That's when like we get to be like the best that we can be for other people. So go do whatever feels good. Like just have a good time, and that's when you really get to be in a space to create something amazing. Yeah.
I love that. Whatever that is. I'm like, I'm gonna go for a run after this if I have time.
Go get ice
I
cream.
love it. I really love it. Yeah. So I want to invite everyone to visit the website, lifeforceconnection.com, to find out about success coaching, the certification programs, and One Heart Global for the kids. Because we just love sharing this work. And Miko, it just has such a special place in my heart and on the show. And I want her to share all of her resources. She gave you the social media posts. But Miko, if they can, not post, sorry, the social media links, but if they can also email you, if you can provide that. You did once, but do it again if you wouldn't mind. And any other way, like any, certain programs you have going on right now, or classes, or ways that they can kind of jump in and learn with you and just be beside you in this, please, I would love for you to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, my email is lifeofmikolau@gmail.com. And I have put together like a couple interview series in the past, and the one that Abby is on, I'll share that later. But the previous 2 summits that I put together, the first one is College to Calling. So it's for any like recent college graduates, you're coming out, you don't know what to do. That would be an amazing interview series. It's absolutely free. You can go watch that. Just go onto my website, iammikolau.com. So iammikolau.com. And you can also find another interview summit. It's called Thriving in 2020. I know like right now we really need to be off us. We need to be thriving in like time freedom, financial freedom, and like get a body that you feel good in. That's what the series is on. And right now we're in the middle of 26 Days to Greatness Challenge that Abby is a part of. I know that when this goes out, it's gonna be towards the end of the challenge, but that's okay. Just for Abby's listeners, like if you want to sign up for that, you can still sign up on 26daystoGreatness.com, and you'll receive a welcome email. Even though it's probably going to be over by then, just send me an email. I'll make an exception just for you guys, and completely for free. I know people who wants to replay, they have to purchase it, but I'll make an exception for you guys because there's so many valuable content in there. And it's all about you tapping like out of your smallness in your relationship, in your business, in your life, and really tapping into your greatness. So that's available to you guys.
That's awesome. Thank you, Miko.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
thank
awesome.
you, Abby.
You're welcome.
This has been so fun.
You're so welcome. And is that the best website for people to reach you at? That website?
I would say email would be the best way to reach me.
Perfect.
But yeah, my website, iammikolau.com, it's great, but it's a little bit outdated.
Okay, so just connect with her via email. She'll hook you up. And Miko, is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with before we log off today? Like a motto, like a word of wisdom, a sentence, something they can kind of walk with and take with them?
I would just want to say, like, I want you guys to remember how loved you are. Like, you are absolutely super loved, and you are worth everything, even though maybe you may not see that or feel that right now. Like, I want you to know, like, I'm sending so much love from my heart to you. And even just like kind of cracking open that door and like feeling that love for yourself, like that's really gonna open everything for you. So like if you don't have like that space right now in your life, really just get around like people, will get connected with, like, I know you're connected with Abby obviously, but like really get yourself in those communities where you can leverage, like borrow someone else, like positivity, love, and the beliefs, and really like lean on others. That's all I'm saying. Like reach out for support, and don't try to do this alone. You're not alone.
Yeah, I love that. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
we are in it together for sure, for sure. And even right now, the internet can connect us all. And I just want to just invite everybody to connect in with your heart, place your hand on your anchor of love, and just feel us all rippling the love getting stronger within our own heart as we all stay connected. Even when we log off today, we can always move into this beautiful, loving heart space, be anchored in love, feel our connection to each other and all of life. So namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.